Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Very quickly, just to address my appearance, no, I don't think I'm 18 again, and no, I'm not going incognito somewhere. I'm just really cold and still full of man flu, so I thought I'd wrap up a little bit warm this morning on the way to work. Now, on to the topic of today's video. A little while ago, I made a video about how payday loans and gamblers are indeed a match made in hell. And I explained, obviously, the pitfalls of having instant access to high interest money at a time where either you're desperate to recoup your funds, as was always the case with myself, or you had a strong urge to gamble but didn't have the available funds with which to do it. Again, a match made in hell. But it's not just payday loans that are a potential stumbling block for gamblers, particularly gamblers on their way to recovery. Paydays themselves can be one hell of a hurdle to get over when you have a gambling problem. And I thought there was no better time of the month to make this video than for what it's going to be for many the most anticipated payday of the year. I don't know about you guys, but this Friday it will actually be the first time I've been paid in 6 weeks. In fact, over 6 weeks as it turns out. So yeah, it's much anticipated. It's been a fair while since I've had a fair amount of disposable income and anything I can actually spend on myself and on luxuries. So we already know that is a red flag to someone with a gambling problem. If I ask myself the honest question, I'd have to say that 9 times out of 10, whether or not I did my entire wage packet on payday, I certainly would have risked more money than I should have done, than I could realistically afford if we took the month as a whole. And then more often than not, I'd end up then having to budget, scrimp and save for the rest of the month, or at the worst, go and find additional money the day after payday, which of course involves lying to people or involves those dreaded payday loans once again. So if you've got payday coming up at the end of this week, what can you do that's different? Now, there's a method I tried many times, and that was to tell myself before payday, right, when I get paid, I'm not going to spend it on gambling. And the fact I told myself this many times probably goes to demonstrate just how effective this method of abstinence was. Telling yourself, I'm not going to spend my money on gambling this month. I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to put myself in the same situation I put myself in month after month. I told myself that so many times, and I can count on no hands how many times that was truly successful. There were occasions when I could stave off the desire to gamble on payday. I mentioned in a couple of my previous Friday videos about how I often go to the pub after work on a Friday, and historically that would have included an extended go on the fruit machine, or maybe a venture over the road to the bookies to go and play some machine or another, or basically spend some of my wages. Sometimes, on some occasions, if I told myself this enough, I'm not going to do this on payday, I'm not going to do this on payday. If I told myself this enough, there were occasions where I could stave that off for an hour, a couple of hours, maybe even a day or two. But eventually I would go back to spending the money, because ultimately the combination of the end of a week, that feeling that you've been paid, the availability of funds, quite often funds that won't have gone out on essential bills just yet, because not everything comes out, does it, the day you get paid, unless you're very organised. Quite often it will come out a few days later, and that money will be sat there in your account, and that will be, for at least the time being, available funds, and that's a very dangerous combination indeed. Another thing to consider as well is that a lot of gamblers, particularly problem gamblers who repeat the gambling cycle, will get stuck in this way where by the middle of the month we're skint, and we have to then spend the rest of the month scrimping and scraping to get by, maybe borrowing a few quid here and there, using what's left in the cupboard to eat, that sort of thing. I've always said that, to be fair, if gamblers could get a handle on their gambling, we'd be the next Martin Lewis. We're so good at getting by on next to no money. We're so good at making meals out of whatever's left in the cupboard. We would be the best money saving experts there are. There's no copyright infringement intended there, of course, but like I say, the problem is a lot of gamblers will, by midpoint of the month, maybe if we're lucky 2/3 of the way through the month, but almost exclusively before the end of the month, we would have done any available funds to us and we will be counting down to payday. And that itself is very, very dangerous, because you think that consciously you're counting down to payday. You think, 5 days till payday, 4 days till payday. Maybe you've got in your mind what you want to do the weekend you get paid. Maybe you want to go out for a meal. Maybe there's something, you've got your eyes set on that you want to buy. I don't know, a pair of trainers, I don't know, whatever it is. There's something you want to spend some of your wages on. And you're consciously counting down to payday. You know how many days it is. You're thinking, yes, the day after tomorrow, I get some money in my account. Now, what you're not aware of is that, as well as consciously counting down to payday, the subconscious part of your brain, the part of your brain that is now hardwired to, correlate money and gambling, or free time and gambling, or opportunity and gambling, that triangle, that part of your subconscious is also counting down to payday. And you may not even realize it. You may, at the moment, consciously be thinking, I'm not going to spend that money on gambling. There's loads of things I want to spend my money on that's not gambling. But subconsciously, that gambling, hardwired gambling part of your brain is counting down too. You trust me. And it's waiting to pounce, and it will pounce. So what do? Because I tell you, from someone who's tried this with willpower time and time again and failed just as many times, right? What can you do to stop this cycle? What can you do to protect your, oh so important wages at the end of January, where maybe the wait has been so long? Well, if you haven't spoken to anyone about your gambling problem, now is the time to do it, because they can help you. Even if it's a temporary thing, make sure your wages get handed over to that person when you get paid. At the very, very least, excuse me, at the very, very least, get someone to hold your money for you until all your bills come out. You may, depending on who you work for, whether it's in a big organisation, this might not work, but a smaller company, maybe your boss can even help you. I've had my boss put cash for me in a safe at work to keep it safe from me. So maybe that's something you can sort out. But if not, get a friend, it has to be a trusted friend, but get a friend, and not a gambling friend. Get a friend or a family member or your partner or someone to make sure that money that is essential for your bills, for your rent, for everything you need is safe on payday. Going forward, get something like a Monzo account, and I'm harp on about Monzo. I'm not sponsored, I assure you, but Monzo have been really, really good. They help you track your spending, but they also help you block gambling transactions, which if you found yourself using your debit card in bookies, if you found yourself gambling online on payday, that's a great, great way of preventing that cycle. If you're like me and you used to go to the pub and take some cash and lose on the fruit machine, just do it the day you get paid. Don't take your card to work, or take your card to work, draw out a bit of cash and leave your card again with someone. There's hundreds of ways you can do this. There are other tricks I've put in my previous videos, such as, for example, if you're going out on Friday night, and again, that's normally an opportunity for you to gamble, then tell the people you're with. Make the bet with them. Say, look, if you see me gambling, I'm going to buy everyone a beer. I'll buy everyone a beer and a shot. I'll pay everyone's beers for the rest of the night. Whatever it takes, there's going to be sufficient deterrent for you not to gamble. I think that, like I say, the point is really that at the moment, you may be skint. You may have had a fair few days off the gambling because you haven't had any money. So you're feeling quite comfortable. You think, well, I've done it this long, it'll be fine. I'll get paid and I won't gamble. But what you don't realise, and I'm saying this from experience, I'm not saying this because I'm the oracle or because I think I'm better or I'm somehow, high and mighty about all this. I know that somewhere in your subconscious there is that little gambling demon counting down to payday. It's got plans for that money. You might have plans for that money, but trust me, it's got plans for that money, and its urges and its power will be much stronger than your willpower. So beat it by doing something practical and doing it in advance. Plus it will help you relax. You won't have that constant thing on your head, must not gamble, must not gamble, must not gamble. Because like you are now, if you're skint and you're waiting for payday, you won't be able to gamble. And by the time the dust has settled, maybe get someone to either drip feed the money to you. I know it's a bit embarrassing having pocket money as a grown adult, but if it takes the stress out of it and it stops you gambling, trust me, it's far, far the lesser of two evils. Anyway, I hope that helps. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks to everyone who keeps subscribing. I know I say it in every video, but it is really appreciated to all my new subscribers. If you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, leave me a comment, let me know what you'd like to hear me talk about. And on the basis I'm now losing my voice, I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers, guys.